confused as to why you, the Democratic Party as a whole, continues to pass legislation that disarms our communities.
I appreciate you asking me that question. One, I'm going to start out with saying I'm a pro-Constitution Democrat, which means I take every single amendment in there, and I believe that we're sworn to uphold and defend that. And I've taken that oath more times than I've count, both in uniform and in the General Assembly. So just want to set the stage that we were all, I hope, pro-Second Amendment Democrats, just like we're pro-First Amendment Democrats. And I want to tell you a couple of stories about my time in the General Assembly. And I was just on the phone last week with a gentleman who says, "Hey, Dan, I just want to tell you, we've talked many times, but I haven't told you my story." I said, "Okay." And he said, "A few years ago, my son-in-law was killed because he was shot randomly by a gentleman who was carrying an assault weapon in Virginia. It says he was shot 7 times before he hit the ground. I assume it was 5.56 millimeter, which is the standard caliber and the most popular of these rifles. So when we had to identify the body, all we could do was look at the leg because of the damage that had been done by the rounds that it hit. I think about the shooting that you had at Bridgewater in 2022, where you lost officers Painter and Jefferson, and those stories stick with me. I believe that we can pass legislation that provides a responsible opportunity for gun owners to have their weapons, and that doing that is not at odds with the Second Amendment, just like passing laws that say you can't yell fire in a theater, even though we believe in free speech, isn't at odds with the First Amendment. I'm proud of the legislation we put forward, which I do think balances the freedom of all of us to not live in fear of being shot by someone with the freedom of folks to own a firearm. And I think that's the balance we're striving to get to. If you look at what's going on in the country, I do believe that you can own a firearm for self-defense. I think that you can own it. Do I think that if there is the military being used against us, that whatever firearms we have are going to do the trick? I don't believe that. And so I think it's incumbent on all of us to make sure that we don't get to that situation, and we do everything we can to defeat MAGA at the ballot box, rather than contemplate a world in which we're fighting each other in armed conflict in the United States.